Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single-family homes all the way up to 600-plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, where, as always, we're working on your financial freedom. I'm your host, Mike Harrison. Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. I spent most of the weekend moving my daughter back to college. Yes, we're going to get back to normal. We're going to fight back to the new normal one way or another, my friends. Okay, I've got a great show teed up for you today. I really hope you can stick with us for the entire show. You're going to want to stick with us for the entire show. And if you miss it, obviously you can go to the podcast, Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, or you can go to the website, click on the radio button, you can find it there. But I've got a very special guest on today's show, and I consider this person a friend. I actually met him a few years back at a Lifestyles event. Imagine that, right? And every event I go to, when I see this gentleman, I enjoy talking to him. I enjoy hearing his insight and catching up and seeing how he's doing. On this show, I talk all the time about opportunities, okay? And last week's show was nothing but seizing the opportunity, right? Seizing it now, today. And the big regret is most people yet wish they had started yesterday, right? But this person is the epitome of someone who took the education we offer at Lifestyles Unlimited, honed his skills, added his expertise, his work ethic, the competencies he had developed throughout his life. And obviously his partner, his wife, is by his side, and she's involved as well. But essentially they seized opportunities, and together they are very successful real estate investors. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome one of our lead investors from the DFW area to the show, Ed Faulkner. Ed, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike. I really appreciate being here today.
Absolutely. I wanted to have you on the show for some time, and we never got around to it. So I'm fired up. I'm excited about today's show. So, Ed, why don't you give a little background to the listener about yourself?
I will do that. And it's funny, you had mentioned about the training and all that. As a real estate investor, I didn't really know anything when we got started. And so Lifestyles really helped my wife Carol and I, learn everything we needed to know. And we came into this just knowing zero. And so I guess for folks out there that don't know anything about real estate, Lifestyles really affords a way to learn that with their education program. So we came into this, we had owned a duplex that we kind of backed into sideways, and we're glad we did. And we came into this, into Lifestyles, and we learned that some of the things that we'd done with that duplex we'd done correctly, and some of the things we hadn't. We could have optimized, I should say. We hadn't done it incorrectly, but we could have optimized if we'd done it differently. And we ended up actually, it's not that we dumped it, but we got an unsolicited offer. So it was really just fortunate that we were able to unload it. And as we were learning more about multifamily, we decided to take the opportunity to take the money from that sale, and we invested it into multifamily and went that way, and decided that was really more the direction we wanted to go. And it's not the only way to go, but it was definitely for us the best way to go. Right. And so that's how we got started.
Excellent. So essentially you had the property prior to Lifestyles. Is that what you're saying? Yes.
We had a duplex that we had bought just before we discovered Lifestyles. Unfortunately, I'd never heard the radio show. I'd never heard of anything about it. And then we bought the property, and like 2 months later, we discovered Lifestyles Unlimited and joined, and then got an unsolicited offer a month later and sold it 2 months later. I mean, it all happened so fast, it almost was a blur. Yeah, wow. A blur.
So you came into Lifestyles eyes wide open. That's similar. I knew that there was something to real estate, and I actually bought a property prior to Lifestyles, and I did everything wrong, and I still made a little bit of money. And it was I came into Lifestyles Unlimited eyes wide open, right? Tell me what I'm doing wrong and teach me how to do it right. And boy, did they ever. So quite a change. So you came into Lifestyles. Did you go to the free workshop first, or you just found it on the radio and decided to join, or how'd that come about?
Yeah, I actually was looking to do a slightly different business within the real estate industry. I was thinking about becoming a home builder. Oh, my God.
Nice.
And yeah. I know, right? And I was meeting with a consultant at a local college. They do a free, consulting. And we had done all our stuff. And at the end, he said, hey, you should go join this local real estate group called Lifestyles Unlimited because they have a great vendor program. So you can get vendors to help you out. So I looked into it and I went to the free workshop. And during the free workshop, everything was new that they were telling me, that Lifestyles was telling me. I knew enough that what they were telling me that becoming a home builder was absolutely the last thing in the world I was going to do. And from there, I never looked back. I never pursued anything about that. And we began our Lifestyles career, there. I
love it. I think I still have the Be Your Own Builder book on my shelf somewhere. I'd have to dig it out. But yeah, it's like we get this tickle in the back of our brain saying, it's right in front of our face, but we don't want to admit it, that the conventional program isn't working. There's something in real estate that is working because everyone we meet, whether it's a builder or an influence, you find those successful people. In fact, one of my very good friends, when I was growing up in high school, his father was one of the most successful builders in this country, but he started out very slow there in Houston. And so, yeah, I kind of had that thought as well. So we're just about up to the break. So when we come back, Ed, I want to talk about maybe go into your aha moment at the when you did join within Lifestyles at the 2-day, and then maybe we'll talk about what your first multifamily deal was. So my name is Mike Harrison. I'll be back in just a moment with Ed Faulkner, lead investor in the DFW area. This is the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Del Walmsley talks about buying your way back from corporate America through real estate.
A massive change in my life. My personal residence I lived in was a one-bedroom condo, cost $425 a month. This covered it. My automobile car payment was only $300 and some a month. This covered it. I was buying my way back from corporate America. I could feel it.
Lifestyles Unlimited will teach you how to buy your way back from corporate America. Get in control. Get into our live online free workshop. Register at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. It's time to turn up the volume and fine-tune your passive income plan so you can create the lifestyle you've always wanted.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Mike Harrison. Today's show, I have one of our lead investors from the Dallas-Fort Worth area on, Ed Faulkner. And if you've got a question for Ed or myself, I encourage you to give us a call. Our number is 855-497-4335. 855-497-4335. Or as always, you can email me at askmike@luinc.com. That's askmike@luinc.com, and I do respond personally to each and every email. So, Ed, I had a thought during the break. We had touched that you actually went to a consultant, I guess, to learn about the potential of building homes. And the thought hit me, well, you're a corporate guy. And the corporate guys, the conventional wisdom world tells us you should be well on your way to a 401k that's worth 7 figures. What the heck led you to home building? So that's a great question. And yeah, you'd think that that's the way it was supposed to be. And that's the way, the whole, everybody should go to college and, that's supposed to guarantee you a job, and the job is supposed to, guarantee you a salary, and this whole cycle of, guaranteed success. And it's just a sham most of the time. And it was for me. I worked for a very large tech company in most of the 2000s. And during 2008 and 2009, they struggled and I got laid off.
And so I lost a large percentage of my retirement. And after that time, my wife and I were struggling. How are we going to take care of our retirement? And my wife used to have this expression that she'd say, I'm terrified that we're going to be eating dog food in our retirement. And that always used to motivate me as the husband and as the dad of my kids. I need to take care of this. And it just, it really kept me on my toes. And so when I saw this opportunity, I saw how this home builder built this duplex that I was telling you about earlier that we had bought and we were renting out. Yeah. I saw that he didn't do a great job. And the project manager in me, which is a discipline that I've had in my professional life, I saw, I kind of thought I could do that. And so I didn't want to be presumptuous, but I started researching it. And I thought, maybe I could kind of learn this on my own. And I found a class that maybe could teach me. And it was, still very much learn it on my own. And I don't know. But when I went to this 2-day seminar with Lifestyles Unlimited, and they told me that they're an education organization and they teach me how to do real estate in their way, and they have a program that does can completely teach me. They have mentors and consultants.
Right.
That changed everything for me, and that's when I realized, no, I don't have to go reinvent the wheel. And no disrespect to home builders, because that was a really tough road I was about to go down. And I really felt like it was the ram in the bushes. I was like, oh, thank God, literally. I don't mean that sarcastically. And it was like, that's going to be how we get our retirement taken care of. And it's been a major blessing. Lifestyles has been a major blessing for our family.
Wow. That's interesting. And, Ed, I take away, well, I got one comment and then I've got a question, but the comment is, I think you're one of the few people that's brave enough to admit that this conventional wisdom world, this lie that tens of millions of American people are living in today, the go to school to get good grades, to go to college to get good grades, to get a job at a tech company, right? Corporate America, I mean, all we hear is big tech. I mean, that must be the golden job, and that you're in that position going, holy cow, this isn't working, and you were brave enough to stand up and admit it and then go try to find, right? The first one's realization, and the second one is find a new path and hopefully the correct path. And you obviously did, because it leads me to the question, are you worried about your retirement now?
I'm not. Now, it's, we are working hard to make sure that we're finishing that up. So, Lifestyles Unlimited has an expression, 5 years to retirement if you follow the plan. And we're coming up on our 5th year here towards the end of this year. Yeah. And we're not going to finish early. We're going to finish right on time. And doesn't mean that I'm going to be quitting my day job necessarily at the end of the 5th year, but it means that I'll be ready to. And, Mike, that's means a lot when you know that you're ready to. It means that, you can put up with a lot less crud at your day job if you know that at any moment you could leave and it doesn't matter to your well-being financially if you were to walk away.
So conventional world, you didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel at all. Real estate investing, using the education Lifestyles Unlimited, you see a light at the end of the tunnel in just 5 years. I can tell you this, we can kind of map out our investments, and I can tell you my next 5 years are incredible because I've got some refis on the horizon with some of these apartment communities. I've got an apartment community I'm invested in selling in October. I've already kind of delegated that money to what we're going to do with it, and you're just folding this income and growing that passive income. And so, it gets brighter and brighter in just a very short amount of time. So, well, Ed, let's dig into the meat. Tell us about your first multifamily investment.
Sure. So the first one we did was when we sold that duplex that we had been leasing out. We took that money, and instead of jumping into what would be called a syndication as a lead investor, I'm not too much of a skeptic, but I just decided, I'm going to just step in and take what I consider my next best step. And I did what's called an IRO, and that stands for Independent Rental Owner. And me and another buddy of mine within Lifestyles Unlimited, he and I, he was actually my boss when I interned at IBM in college. And we ran into each other at a meeting, and he's a member. And
Wow.
we bought a property outside of Dallas in a town called Ennis. And we bought a little 10-unit property, and we bought it together. And we decided that was our best step. We wanted to learn this. We knew that it would be a challenge, but not a challenge that was greater than we could handle. We didn't want to bite off more than we could handle. And so we were doing the training, and we had our consultants and our mentors at LU, Myself Unlimited, and it was just the perfect next step. It's like stepping into the pool instead of jumping in. We went down the steps instead. And so it was great. And so we did that, and it was perfect. And that was my first step into it. And I will tell you, though, we learned a lot. We learned a lot, and it wasn't overwhelming. It was exactly what we wanted it to be. And we sold that property in 19 months, and we actually more than doubled our money.
Wow. Ed, they're pushing us out.
All right.
That leads me to some interesting thoughts that we're going to pick up on the other side after a short break. My name's Mike Harrison. We're talking with Ed Faulkner, lead investor in Dallas-Fort Worth. We'll be right back in a moment.
We're back with the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. We're here to answer your questions and help you become financially free.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. I'm your host, Mike Harrison, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. If you've got any questions about real estate investing, or maybe you're considering becoming a passive real estate investor in an apartment community, now's the time. Our number is 855-497-4335, 855-497-4335. I have on our show today successful lead investor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Ed Faulkner. Or you can always email me at askmike@luinc.com, askmike@luinc.com. Ed, you're holding back on me because you said your plan was another 5 years, and I know your portfolio of properties that you own. Tell me the truth, what's going on there, because both of y'all were working very hard. What have you been able to do recently?
So that's a good point. I was able to, well, not I, but we were able to retire my wife last summer. So actually a year ago,
Nice.
where are we, in August? In this month, my wife retired. So we did it in 3 years, I guess, technically, for her. And so that was actually an amazing feat. So really excited about that. And she was able to start our property management company. And that was a great way for us to really get into the business in depth. And that's what's allowed us to really focus on the control we needed. It's also helped our returns to our passives on our properties. And it's allowed me to continue working a little bit longer for extra cash flow to help us with, future deals. So that's it's really our partnership just as in every aspect of our life.
Fantastic. So you rescued her from the corporate nightmare, and she's basically working on the future, right? She's working within your company. So that's fantastic. I'm happy for Carol. That's great. Let's talk about your very first lead deal. That was a property that at the time I didn't have any powder that I couldn't get into, but maybe for the listeners out there, tell us what you saw in the deal, what opportunity you recognized, and what kind of deal it was.
Sure. Yeah, that was a property in Dallas, and it was in East Dallas, and it had been recently completely renovated by the owner that had it. He was not in Lifestyles Unlimited. However, you would have thought he was. He did everything right. He completely renovated the exteriors, the interiors. He when he fixed the roofs, he didn't just replace the flat roofs. He pitched them. He put pitched roofs on. He didn't replace. Yeah, he didn't replace the chillers. He put individual air conditioners on every unit. He put facades on the face of the property to make it look beautiful. put LED lighting on the exteriors. Everything about the place was beautiful.
That's a
and
lifestyles move. Yeah, you'd think you would be right in our program.
Absolutely. And so, like I said earlier on the previous segment, I like to take steps that are my next best step. And so for me, I didn't want to have to deal with what is called a value play. Value play is something that needs a lot of work. So I needed to do something that was not going to take a lot of effort on construction. I had already owned a property, that was the IRO, so I'd taken care of the operations. I understood operations. What I wanted to focus on next was the syndication portion. Yeah. And so this property allowed me to do that. So now I had a property that I could, I understood the operations. Now I focused on the syndication. And so that was my next best step. And so that's what we did with that particular property.
So it's a yield play. And for the listener, I just want to define this a little bit. A yield play means it's cash flowing. So you're able to distribute a yield to the passives fairly rapidly. How long after acquisition were you actually able to start giving some money back to the passives, Ed?
So I skipped the first quarter, which I do kind of as almost like a company policy. And I look back and I probably didn't need to, but I did. We paid distributions every quarter until about a year ago. We skipped, not quite a year ago, we skipped like a couple quarters ago. And then when COVID hit, we all decided in LU to kind of be careful. So I skipped a quarter there. However, I'm paying a distribution. I'm actually sending out distributions this month, and we're writing checks right now for my passive on that property.
What percentage is that property averaging, Ed, annually?
Are you talking about returns or?
Yeah, on the return. Yeah.
I'm paying about 7% right now.
Okay, excellent. 7% tax-free, which is more like a 10 or a 12% return if you're thinking out loud. So $100,000 in that is returning you essentially $7,000 annually, which is, again, tax-free, so it's more like $10,000 or $11,000. So, Ed, you were focusing on the syndication, which meant you had to write a private placement memorandum. How difficult was that for you?
And it was really hard. It's like a 40-page document. I just got my typewriter out, and I called my lawyer. And it is a difficult document to write in that it is the will, the document is the will of the lead, right? So it is a document that it reflects what I want in there. However, I worked with my lawyer to make sure it reflected what I needed it to say, and then they write it. So no, I didn't physically write it, but it did reflect what I wanted in there. And so it took them, a certain amount of time to write it. But it's not like they were like, a private placement memorandum. That's a great idea. We'll get to work on that. They clearly had boilerplates of, templates of things like that. So, and, worked with LU. So they had, they kind of know what we want. So it took them, some amount of time. I don't remember exactly, a couple days, a week or whatever, and put that together. But that document served as kind of the foundation of the offer to my potential at the time passives.
Yes. Yeah, so essentially there's, like you said, a template or a structure to this, and it's not as simple as fill in the blank, but that is what you're doing. You're filling in the areas that need to be addressed. You're putting the essentially your analysis of the property, right? Your business plan, all that, because that's what you're sending out to the passives to see if they're interested in the opportunity. So speaking of passives, Ed, how much did you need to raise, and how many passives are in the deal?
So that property, I raised $870,000, and I had 15 passives.
Okay, so 15 folks and yourself came up with
myself, yes.
870. How difficult was it to raise the funds?
So that was my first raise, and the first time any lead goes to market, if you will, it can be a challenge. And so I raised about half the funds in 24 hours, and I really thought I was all that.
Yeah, and you're brand new, yeah.
I was like, man, I am going to be done by the weekend. And then I didn't get another penny for like a week. So it was very humbling. So then I had to hustle after that. But, then the money came in. And so it was just, you have to work it. And so after that, it was just, one of the things that I did do is I had an open house at my lawyer's firm. And I think that really helped people know, okay, he's a new guy. The lawyers are here. They can answer questions if he may not be able to, since he's new. And so we did a presentation, invited all the folks that had not committed yet. Actually, we invited everybody. Some of the people that already committed were there. And, served some Chick-fil-A and answered questions. And I had all the money raised then by the next morning, by noon, but the next day.
Fantastic. So, you were brand new. It was your first property. As you invest more and get more properties, that raise gets easier and easier. I've seen leads raise millions of dollars within 24 hours. Well, Ed, they're pushing us out. We're going to come back with the last segment of Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Mike Harrison. We'll be right back after a short break.
One of the things I'd like to get across is that your whole life you wanted to make a change, right? But you've never had the time? This might be it, because we have online education that you can get involved in.
We're now going to bring the free workshop to the entire country and really the world. Anybody who is interested can participate in that. We're going to live stream that free workshop and have people online with you on the live stream, talking with you, answering questions, interacting. You're really going to get a great feel for the Lifestyles community from this. And you can register for that. So if you want to find out about us, this is a great way to take a look at us and what we do.
Lifestyles Unlimited has been helping people succeed since 1990. Join us for our free online real estate workshop and learn the 7 principles we teach to run our businesses and provide for our families. Register at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. That's lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Now, let's get back to your map to financial freedom.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Mike Harrison. I have with me today on the show lead investor out of Dallas-Fort Worth, Ed Faulkner. And I want to throw out, Ed, before we get into this too much further, do you want to share your contact information with the listener out there in case they have any questions for you?
Sure. You can reach out to me on the web at hzfproperties.com/invest. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me. That's on that page. You can click to get on my mailing list, or you can click to make a brief appointment with me if you have any questions. Want to ask me about my investment strategies.
So that's HZF, H zebra F, right? HZFproperties.com/invest.
Right.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, Ed, I really think you're a brave guy, and you're not brave for investing in real estate. You're brave for essentially being in the corporate world, not only in the corporate world, working for within the tech industry that the conventional wisdom world has told us is all gold and lollipops and whatever analogy you want to put in there. And you were brave enough to stand up and go, not the case. And doesn't look like I'm on my way to $4 or $5 million in the 401k. And you did everything they asked you, yet you realized it wasn't working. So if any of you listeners out there are interested in what we're doing, if you're interested in creating wealth and building passive income through real estate investing, I encourage you to attend a free workshop. And how do you do that? It's live stream right now. freeworkshoplivestream.com, freeworkshoplivestream.com. Okay, you can do it from the comfort of your favorite chair and your favorite beverage next to you, but you are participating. It's not a webinar. And if you'd like to join Lifestyles Unlimited right now, we've got a reduced price of only $197 for 1 year. My friends, that's a joke. That's $17 a month, okay? For $17 a month, come see what we do and how we do it and why we do it. You need to use promo code SAVEBIG. But where do you go to do that? You do that at financialfreedomlivestream.com. That's financialfreedomlivestream.com. Once you join, you have the privilege to attend our 2-day, 16-hour class. It's now online live stream. Get access to our vendor program. Ed talked about that earlier. there was a guy at one of the local community colleges that said, hey, go check out Lifestyles Unlimited just for the vendor program. So there's so much more to it, but it's definitely a valuable asset or valuable benefit of joining. So, Ed, speaking of the 2-day seminar, Dell encourages us to give back. You took that to heart. You're teaching the 2-day seminar. Is that correct?
I am. I'm one of the national 2-day presenters, and I love it. I go around the country and I teach the 2-day seminar, help people understand how to do all this.
Wow, how great. So you're doing it, once or twice a month, or how often?
About once a month right now. And, of course, with COVID, we stopped for a while. That went on pause, obviously, for the in-person, but we're doing them online. Yeah. And so some of my co-presenters are doing that. I chose not to do the online, so some of my buddies are doing those, but I'm doing them live. And, in fact, my first seminar will be in about 30 days back on the road. I'm very excited to get back on the road soon.
Oh, really? Yes, wonderful. Where are you going?
To Virginia. I'll be in Virginia.
Okay. There was some talk about maybe doing a 2-day in Hawaii, and I think everybody's trying to step on each other to go to that.
Right.
Dale's already said, I think I might be going to Hawaii. So anyway, that's awesome. So you're standing on stage, you're teaching real estate investment to people that were just like yourself. Any takeaways from being on the other side?
One of the things that I like to communicate in the 2-day is that when I was sitting in those seats, almost 5 years ago, the presenter seemed like, he was so far down the road that I felt like I'd never catch up. He may or may not have been, but what I try to communicate is that I'm not. I'm just a few years down the road. I'm just a few steps down the road. I'm just, I reach my hand out physically on the stage and I say, I'm just here to reach my hand out and help you come alongside me. And, many of you can pass me easily. I'm not that far along. I've just been doing like one deal a year, right, in the last couple of years. I've only got, a few. These folks can pass me and move along very quickly. And I'm here to help you do that. And so that's what I try to communicate in the 2-day is that this is very doable. And, you can just, if you put your mind to it, LU can teach you how to do it. You just need to put in the work, and you can do it. Yeah,
it's not difficult. And if you'd asked me 6 months ago, I would have said I'm halfway where I want to be. But, it's funny. Life's funny, right? We kind of get into this, and it starts working, and then we raise our expectations and human nature, right? You want a little more. So now I'm like, I think I'm only about a third of what I want. And it's going to be interesting what my mindset's going to be. But the next few years are very bright on the plan, at least on my side. So, Ed, I want to circle back because you mentioned something earlier, and I'm sure some of the listeners caught it, but most of the people that don't understand our map might not have caught it. But you went IRO, you became an independent rental owner before becoming a lead investor, and typically people are doing it the other way around. They're becoming a lead and then doing the IRO. How has that helped you? And you want to talk about your timeline or your horizon on that or what that means?
Sure. Yeah, Carol and I started as an IRO because that made a lot of sense for us. We wanted to kind of practice on our money, not on other people's money. That was just our personal value system. And we're glad we did. And it's a good place to start for a lot of people. But, if you think about a bell curve, for us, it was like starting off kind of wading into the waters and then being a lead, maybe being that kind of that deeper waters and, more complex. And we're going to do that for a couple of years, being leads. And then we're going to eventually end as IROs. Now, they'll be bigger, much bigger than 10 units. They'll be big, big, big properties. But we're going to end with IROs where we own 100% of the properties, but that's how we're going to end eventually. Now, when is that? I have no idea. We have no timeline for that, but that's how we're going to end and our exit strategy. And that's something we even teach in the 2-day is that, the IRO is the ultimate goal because that's your property. And we teach you how to do that.
Yeah, the pinnacle is to have 2 or 3 or one big IRO, call it a 250 unit that you own 100% of, and then you're done. You can do whatever. You've got your management company running the property. You can travel the world. You can sit on a beach. You can sit at home. You can do whatever you want. So, you did the IRO to kind of test the waters, hone your skills. That is the property manager or the project manager in you. I can see it. And then you're doing the leads and then eventually finish with the IRO. So, Ed, we've got a little bit of time left. The education piece, becoming a certified lead investor, how difficult was that? And can you speak to our program at Lifestyles Unlimited, our education program?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first came into this, with the amount of knowledge I had about how to buy a multifamily property, I made a really good computer engineer. I knew nothing about it. And so, I was able to take the classes, and I went to the online classes, and I was able to go to the in-person meetings and learn from other people and talk to my mentors. And I learned what I needed to do to buy that first property. And I could have never done it if I hadn't joined Lifestyles Unlimited, first of all, and second of all, to actually do the online training. And, with the certification programs that are in place, the core training programs that are in place that Lifestyles has, there's no way. There's just absolutely no way I could have done it. And some people try it and they'll fail. They'll spend more money doing things wrong, trying to be headstrong, doing it themselves, than if they would just join our program and just do it right the first time and have the resources. And you know what the serendipity is? I actually have now lifelong great friends. Last night, I went out and met with, I know we're not supposed to do that, but I met with one of my earliest friends from Lifestyles Unlimited, and we just had one of the greatest times of deep fellowship. We talked shop, but we also talked personal stuff. We talked about our kids. He's one of the KPs on my deals, and we have a deep, lifelong friendship because of Lifestyles Unlimited. And you don't get that by doing things on your own and being an island.
No, and it's fantastic that we're involved in creating our financial freedom and not Wall Street, not the politicians. We're living it. We're involved in it. And you can be as successful as you want. You just got to be humble and follow the program. Well, Ed, we're almost out of time. I really want to thank you for being on the show, Ed Faulkner. I appreciate your insight today. That was great. For the rest of you out there, I want you to remember, we do this so that we can create freedom to do what we want, when we want, where we want, how we want, with who we want. And I want you to also remember, it's not about the money. It's all about the lifestyle. Happy Sunday, and make it a great day.
Listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Ready for more of the map? Visit lifestylesunlimited.com. Explore our videos and articles. Click on the radio tab to access past show podcasts. View the radio show schedule and listen to our best of radio shows. Want to continue the conversation? Follow Lifestyles Unlimited on Facebook today. Join us next time. And until then, remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.